What is up, guys? Boat Game Johnny Utah. Today we have a little bit of action in the Akatsuki. This is a tier 6 destroyer in the Japanese line. Now, in all honesty, I really feel I like this better than the Kagero. But I have yet to fully upgrade it, so I probably need to wait until I get it fully upgraded to see what I think. So, that being said, this bad boy has double guns, which is amazing, and it has 3 triple torp launchers at 10 click range. So you can be extremely effective, and you can kind of make your own spreads. You're not necessarily pigeonholed, so to speak, with a 4 or a 5 torp launcher. I would much rather kind of have, smaller groups and more launchers, kind of like the kamikaze. It has three doubles. So anyway, that's kind of like what I personally like, and I just like that the fact that you can kind of keep one in your back pocket in case somebody rushes you, what have you. Either way, my personal experience, I'm kind of really digging 3. Now, the Japanese torps in general are just super effective for the 10 click range. Even the tier 7 Japanese cruiser has 11 click based torps. You couple this with someone like Reizo Tanaka, who has Torpedo Safari, and you can really squeeze some numbers out of that. Not that I have said DD God, but for those of you that do. And just a FYI, there is a commander in the British Navy that has Torpedo Safari as well. Now, things do not look good for this gentleman right here. As you can see, once we zoom in, he is turning super hard. He is not a fan. He's trying to get away from those, and I think he's probably going to get away from all but one. I think he's going to take one. I think it's going to hit him right there in the fanny, and it just does not manage to connect. And guys, all the BB guys say, oh man, you DD guys got it made. You just got there and throw torps and murder everybody. It's not that easy. You kind of have to be, half swami to, decide and know where people are going to go. It's just not that easy. Luck, intuition, skill. It's just a very unique skill set to be able to reliably connect with fish. Because so often the battleship drivers have kind of, caught up to the game, and they don't ever keep a normal, how to say, a path. They're changing their heading all the time, which is what you want to do. You want to change the speed, the heading, just everything. If you know there's a DD lurking about. Now, granted, of course, if, you're engaged and you just happen to look up on your mini map in the top left there and you see a DD, say you've got 2 DDs and they're both on the other side of the map, you're pretty good. You're going to be fine. But if you don't see the DDs and they're not spotted, you probably need to be a little nervous, because they may sure as heck have some eyes on you. Now, like once I said here, guys, the guns on this bad boy are doubles, and it makes a very nice sound. Now, we did just manage to pull some Super Bowl rings off that gentleman right there. Hit him up for 22K while we were shooting at this gentleman. Really did a number on him. And that's exactly what you're looking for. It's not going to be every time you just go in there and just completely shut somebody down. But it does happen, and it is, it is a thing, and I'm sure a lot of you guys that have been on the receiving end, and that's normal. That kind of happens. There's not a lot you can do about it, especially if you're sitting in a cloud like myself, broadside. And I know you guys have seen me in the Grimmy get torpedoed in the sidewise, posted up in a cloud, what have you. But you kind of have to take a moment and think, is the juice worth the squeeze? And that's something, you have to answer for yourself. You're going to say, hey, these few citadels, few hits, whatever I can get with these guns, is it going to be worth me getting spotted, getting decorated, maybe taking a fish in the side, what have you? Or should I just run around and stealth torp? And that depends. Are you having a decent time hitting people with torps? Is it a bad night for you? Whatever. So you kind of have to take it all in stride and, decide when to use the guns. And that's kind of what we were doing just a moment ago. Now, guys, if you get in the smoke and you're posted up in the smoke and you don't have somebody to spot, you've kind of screwed yourself. If you have set the smoke up specifically to put shots down range. And it is a skill that you need to kind of acquire, because you can do a lot of damage with the DD's guns if you have, the decent DPM reload, what have you. Now, however, with the Japanese, we're not exactly going to set any land speed records for doing damage with guns, but if you are doing smoke in anything, to use your guns, you need to make sure that your target is going to be in the AO for long enough for you to make it worth it. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily want to throw up smoke specifically to target somebody and you see them for maybe 30 seconds. You want to see them for a while. And you also don't want to throw up smoke specifically to shoot somebody if there's nobody else around you. They have to be spotted. And you don't necessarily want to throw a cloud in front of somebody and then expect them to spot them, because they're not going to spot the target either. So using smoke to farm targets is extremely situational. Now, granted, of course, it also depends on what DD you're in. If you're in a British DD, your smoke is the get out of jail free card. It's, not long. It's very, very brief. It is truncated smoke. The Americans, on the other hand, lay down a thick, veiny cloud. It will be there all day. And the Japanese are kind of somewhere in the middle. So you kind of have to take this all into account if you're going to go out there and use the guns. And I figured I would talk about that because a lot of folks have asked me, well, when do I really need to use the guns on DDs? Well, like I said, it's all situational. If you're spotted, obviously, open up. Why not? But if you're in the case where, you're in tight quarters and you're trying to get out of there, then it kind of would behoove you to not focus on hitting targets and focus on steering the ship. We're not always going to be, have, 20 degrees to the left and right of us of unobstructed terrain. Sometimes we're going to be dodging rounds, getting out of there at a high rate of speed in a very congested area, islands, ships, what have you. So you have to take all this into account. And, for the most part, if you see another DD or a cruiser, battleship, what have you, that is extremely low health, one shot, then yeah, it may actually be worth it. If you're in a point to where, you could fire a few rounds, turn, run, and get out of there, then you might be fine. Or, if you're in such a position to where, you could lay down a smoke cloud and do some firing, assuming, like I said, there's people to light it up, then yes, that would be a good time to use the guns. It's all situational. And, you don't necessarily need to get in a habit of it. And you also, guys, this is a hard pill to swallow, what I'm going to say next. You need to know when you're outgunned, okay? You need to understand these things. You need to understand that, if you're in a smoke cloud and you're doing work on somebody and there's a Pepsi-Cola coming towards you and, you just launched your torps at somebody else, yes, he doesn't have DPM, but he will absolutely kill you. Or, God forbid, in Atlanta, or what have you, Mogami. Just anything, any cruiser type situation is bad news for you. So you kind of have to take it in stride, and you have to kind of understand. Also, there are other DDs that are going to outclass you. If you're in a Japanese and you're in a gunfight with an American, you're in trouble. You need to get out of that situation. You need to throw some smoke, drop some torps, leave. Go towards friendly lines, what have you. That is what you need to do. Now, if you can't get out of it, do your best. Unless he's missing a lot, like there's no accounting for skill, but if he's missing a lot, you might be okay. If he's missing a lot, you're hitting a lot, you might be okay. For the most part, you're going to be a little screwed. So you have to take all of this into account. The British are kind of on the same, even kill as the Americans. Not quite the same high DPM, but it's fairly close. They can hold their own. Really laid the hammer down on that gentleman. Pushed us up to 70k. Moving on. So it's all situational. There's no hard and fast rule for me to say, hey, when you're in this position, use the guns, because it all depends. And it all depends on, player as a person. You may feel like, hey, I think I'm going to take this Farragut out in a 1v1. I mean, if you want to do that and you feel like you can outshoot the other guy, have at it. And, if you can get to a point to where you can reliably make it work, have at it. Would I recommend it? No. Ideally not. Because it's just not a good situation. It's not a good look for you. Just basing it strictly on the numbers of, his DPM versus your DPM, it doesn't necessarily add up in your favor. And that's kind of how you need to judge a situation. And you need to kind of back up and say, hey, if I move to this point, will I be spotted? Will I be in a gunfight with this guy? And then kind of go from there. Say, okay, well, I'm going to be in a gunfight with this Fletcher. He's going to eat my lunch. Where are my friendlies at? Where are their guns at? What are they looking at? How long can they respond to said Fletcher? So you really kind of need to take a step back from the battle and just look at things overall and, say, who is available to help me? If you have comms with, friendlies in your division, what have you, you have a resource there to look at. So you kind of have to take all this into account if you're going to kind of make a move on somebody who obviously has you outgunned. If not, and you kind of just rush into it, you may get punished for it. So that's kind of my guide on when to use guns in a DD. There is no hard and fast rule. But obviously, and that's why they call the Americans the gunboats, because they are really, really good at shooting things. So back to the game at hand. You can see here I'm firing torps wide, and I never really do that. And the only reason I am firing them wide is because this gentleman laid a thick cloud. I don't have a clue where he's at, and all I have to do is hit him with one. Normally, most of your DDs, depending on where you hit them, can take maybe one torp hit. If they're already a little wounded, it's going to be a wrap. Also, guys, don't forget to check out the stream Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. And I upload Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. every night. If you guys have any requests, certain ship, what have you, if you would like to be in the stream with me, let me know. Xbox Live or on Facebook, what have you. Just make sure to get in a kind of a direct 1v1 type situation. I do set up stream dates in the stream itself, but you have to just 100% confirm with me because, sometimes I have a lot going on. No pun intended, but yes, sometimes I do have my hands full. So moving on back to the game here, we're looking for this guy, and I'm throwing torps. I'm not paying for him. The Japanese Navy's paying for them, so I'm going to throw them as soon as they get loaded. I do not care. I'm trying to find this guy. We're just essentially dragnetting the whole area. We don't have anybody with radar in this zone. If we did, it would be fantastic. We could pop him up right away. And that's something else, guys, you kind of have to worry about at a higher tier is the American radar. Because the other radar, the essentially sonar, isn't really as efficient because it can only detect a small radius. However, radar is like 8.5 clicks on some vessels, so big difference. And that is going to be definitely a factor in higher tier games. You definitely have to kind of worry about the radar. It looks like it's not going to happen, folks. It looks like we're not going to find this guy. He's just out here doing his thing, and he did the right move. You want to run away because, unless you can stealth torp some folks, a gunfight is not preferable because, you're going to get pooped on. And, if you could survive the entire game, I mean, you would do that. You don't necessarily always have to go out in a blaze of glory or gory. So, yeah, we had a very good game. We did 76,000 damage. Very, very good. Got a number of credits as well, 318,000 credits. So we really made it happen. This was on the ground of the Kagero, which we already have. We kind of think we like the Akatsuki a little better. Either way, guys, hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification button. You guys have any requests, let me know. And I'll get you in here. And as always, I can also put you guys on the channel. You just have to let me know. See you guys next time.